Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome back to another RPG News Roundup, this time for August 24th, 2024, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. As always, we will start with computer and console role-playing game news. Corpus Edex is set for release on August 28th. It will be a first-person immersive sim RPG set in a retro-futurist city where you can undertake various sorts of playstyles. There is a demo available. It looks really retro. Necro King is set to release on September 4th. It'll target the PC and will be a turn-based RPG set in a dark fantasy world. You'll lead an army of skeletons, other undead, and similar creatures to expand your realm. It'll have roguelike elements and lo-fi pixel art. Towerborn is set to hit early access on September 10th. It'll come out slightly later as an Xbox game preview on the Xbox Series X/S as well. It will be an action RPG revolving around a tower that still stands amongst the ruins of humanity. It is your job to protect the people within the tower from the monsters outside. Not sure how much of an RPG this is, but the Space Sim/RPG Everspace 2 will be getting a DLC on September 16th. Called Titans, it will include 2 new storylines as well as various new items. Final Fantasy XVI is set to release on the PC on September 17th. A demo is available. Currently, it'll hit both Steam and the Epic Games Store. It will come in both a standard and a complete edition, with a complete edition including the various DLCs. It has been available on the PS5 since last year. Thera, the Thunder Tribes, is set for early access on September 17th. It is set in a land where a magical catastrophe has driven humans to the brink of extinction. You play a hunter who goes against various behemoths that are hunting humans to try to build up their local village and protect the villagers. It'll target the PC and the Xbox Series X/S. Inotria, The Last Song, is set for release on September 19th, targeting the PC, the PS5, and the Xbox Series X/S. It will be a Souls-like action RPG set in a fantasy world inspired by Italian folklore and culture. You play the only being in the world not bound into an eternal repeating play. Beyond Galaxyland is set for September 24th. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch. It takes place in a future Earth where the Earth has been destroyed, a being known as the End. You play a human high school student who gets transported to a place called Galaxyland just prior to the world's destruction. Bloomtown, A Different Story, is set to launch on September 24th, targeting the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S. It'll be a turn-based monster taming RPG with social sim elements, set in a world inspired by 1960s Americana that is just a facade for a demon world. The Nameless, Slay Dragon, is set for release on September 26th. It'll be a turn-based RPG developed by a solo developer and will target the PC, although a Switch is hoped for at a later date. It looks like it'll be an adventure-flavored turn-based RPG where you set forth to slay an immensely powerful evil dragon. Starfield is getting a Shattered Space expansion on September 30th. Available now, however, is the free August update that has added a land vehicle that you can roam around planets on after building a module on your ship. Would have been nice a year ago while I was still playing the game. Also set for September 30th is Rogue Waters. It'll be a turn-based tactical RPG with roguelite elements taking place in a pirate world that has fallen victim to a curse. You get to recruit and lead a crew, and it will feature ship deck combat as well as naval battles. Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire is set to hit on October 10th, targeting the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch. It'll be a JRPG set after an event called the Great Scattering, which threw large sections of the planet's surface up into the sky. It'll have you exploring the Sky Islands, recruiting people, upgrading your airship, and dealing with turn-based aerial battles. Flint, Treasure of Oblivion is set for October 24th. It will be a pirate-themed RPG targeting the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X/S, and follow a captain and his second-in-command as they search for legendary treasure during the golden age of piracy. It will feature tactical turn-based combat. Genshin Impact is getting a release on the Xbox Series X/S. It'll hit on November 10th, and it has been available on other platforms for quite a while now. Path of Exile 2 looks like it's going to get its early access release on November 15th. It'll be a free-to-play sequel to the current action RPG Path of Exile, with a brand new main storyline with a dozen character classes to start with and the ability to use skills from other classes. It looks like Borderlands 4 is going to hit sometime in 2025. It'll be another entry into the long-running looter-shooter series, which does have RPG elements. In a surprise to very few, it looks like Bloodlines 2, a sequel to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, has had its release window delayed yet again. It looks like they're aiming for the first half of next year, 2025. We'll see. What happens will happen. Apparently, a new Heroes of Might and Magic title is set for early access in the second quarter of 2024. Called Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. It'll be a sort of prequel, I guess, apparently to the main series. Set on a continent that has been mentioned but has not appeared yet. It'll include various factions trying to face off against an insectoid faction. It looks like they've taken inspiration from some of the earlier, more popular titles. Of course, this is Ubisoft, so we'll have to see how they screw it up. A new entry into the Dying Light series, Dying Light the Beast, looks like it's been announced. A zombie action-adventure with RPG elements. It has you playing a legendary hero who has been subject to brutal experiments. Another game announced for 2025 is Chernobylite 2 Exclusion Zone, an open-world sci-fi RPG sequel to Chernobylite. It has you crafting various weaponry, developing skills, and dealing with various factions to survive. Titan Quest 2 is set to come in at early access on Steam. Sequel to the long-running action RPG Titan Quest, this one has you facing off against Nemesis, the goddess of retribution, and her various minions in a Greek mythology-based RPG. Then Skyverse was announced. It will apparently hit early access at some point, not sure when, and will have a voxel-based sandbox-style game where you play an airship captain in an auto-generated world of floating islands. A lot of these floating islands, like floating islands in Pirates, seems to be the theme so far. Armageddonica has been announced, though no release window is set. It will target the PC and be a dark fantasy action RPG adventure where humanity is on the brink of extinction after a war waged against demons. A couple of those too. It's like common themes this week. Anyway, as far as actual releases go, Black Myth Wukong saw its release. An action RPG with a focus on Chinese mythology. It has apparently been rather well received by gamers in general, not necessarily by critics. It appears to have quite a following in China, of course, being a large release from a Chinese developer focusing on Chinese mythology. Some people have a problem with that. Go figure. El Rentaro's Wanderings was released. An action RPG. It is set in a remote town where the protagonist visits and tries to help its residents, when suddenly mysterious light appears that takes them to a completely different world. Wild West Dynasty is out, another in the Dynasty series. This one takes place in the Wild West, of course, where you explore an open world, try to convince settlers to join you, build a home, and so forth. They need to do one that's like something Dynasty, but then it doesn't take place in that era, just to throw people off for once. It might help their review scores, who knows. Skull and Bones, an action RPG with a pirate theme, was released. From what I understand, it may not be worth the full sticker price, but what can you expect from Ubisoft? Man, it's like 2 Ubisoft things like that I've had to mention. Yeah, and people say I only rag on Wizards of the Coast. No, all of these companies kind of suck. Guild Wars 2 got another expansion, the Janthier Wilds. It offers a new story section, new features, and new challenges, including raid encounters. Liminal Void is a horror dungeon crawler where you wander around collecting souls, casting spells, and apparently dying repeatedly. Gotta admit, the graphics look like just a migraine put on screen, but yeah, that may just be me. I can barely look at the. You might have better luck with it. I don't know. I can barely look at it without starting to get a headache. Tactical Breach Wizards looks to be a turn-based tactical RPG where you lead a team of wizards in Kevlar through various modern-day rooms to combine their spells in clever ways. Veiled Skies is a JRPG where a Fox Empress called upon a former assassin to retrieve an ancient tome. Arch Legends is a classic RPG in early access featuring real-time third-person combat with powerful beings emerging, and the kingdom sends you to exterminate them. Finally, Infinity Castle Dungeon is a sort of roguelike mystery dungeon where you have one life to explore an infinite castle. You know, hardcore roguelike. With that, I'll move on to tabletop gaming news. It looks like there's been information on how D&D Beyond will handle the transition to the new 2024 edition of D&D. It looks like there will still be access to the old basic rules and core rulebooks. It'll still allow you to make characters using the 2014 rules. It'll allow homebrew content to remain, but will mark 2014 compatible rules with a legacy badge. We'll see if they put a big disclaimer on it as well. Tooltips will reflect the new rules. Monster stat blocks will be updated to the new version, and terminology will be changed to represent the Newspeak version. I understand that spells and magic items will also be changed to the new version as well in some instances. I hope this isn't pushed out to other virtual tabletop virtual tabletops, because I run Fantasy Grounds, and I'm quite content with running my 5th edition game using the 2014 rules with no intent to update it, and I don't need a force patch applied. So please, just, be an option, be cool. I don't see why they do that anyway, because wouldn't they want to sell new books? Yeah, this is weird. Anyway, I understand why they're doing it on D&D Beyond. Just don't push it to the other virtual tabletops. It looks like Paizo has bowed to fan pressure and reinstated his community use policy that had been in place for many years, like 15 years, up until a recent change. It is good to see them taking the right steps, although the initial change really should not have happened in the first place. Some people, of course, are comparing this with what Wizards of the Coast did with the OGL and the SRD, mostly trying to give Wizards of the Coast cover. I'm of the opinion that two companies can, in fact, both do bad things at once. But in the case of Wizards of the Coast, they threaten the entire freaking hobby as a whole, including many completely unrelated companies and gaming systems, whereas Paizo's mostly affected people using Paizo IP. There's a little bit of a difference of scope. Anyway, if you're wondering why I don't call out Paizo for more things, well, they've just got a slightly better track record. I'm not a big fan of them, but they do the right thing more times than not, and they don't screw up as bad. I'll call them out when they do, just like this. And I think I mentioned it when it first happened. Glad to see them turning back. Not going to give them much credit for it because they shouldn't have done it in the first place. It seems that Venger Satanis is shutting down Court Thalas Publishing. It looks like it's largely due to a reduction in sales over time. It will remain open while Primordial Chaos is produced, presuming that funds, because that's on Kickstarter right now, and there will still be a VengerCon coming up next year, but it just seems that things are no longer financially viable. I feel that. I produce video content, and I can see that the YouTube's kind of making it harder for me to do that. It's just the state of a number of things going in. I could sit here all day and talk about that, but people hurting across the board. So this is where the people have to take a long, hard look and say, hey, am I going to be able to continue this? I've been doing that with this channel. So far, the answer's been yes. Enough ranting about that. Onward towards minor and PDF releases. The Drow Pirate's Lair, Shadow Pursuit, The Hunt for the Drow Smuggler is an adventure with original NPCs, and is apparently versatile enough to be used with any modern fantasy system. Redoubts of the Apocalypse is a rule set meant to have things run in a post-apocalyptic setting, offering downtime systems, community growth systems, various perils, and so forth. It comes in a version compatible with Pathfinder 1st Edition, D&D 5th Edition, and then OSR-style systems, each one separately. Kel'Thuzul's Tales, once again, has a number of 5th Edition adventurers out there. There's Echo of Flames, Desert Delivery, and then a bunch in a Void series, Let Void Slumber, Let Void Fester, Let Void Consume, and Let Void Conquer. Shot Glass Adventures has another few entries into their series of compatible with both 5th Edition and OSR systems. There is number 16, Fiends Like These, number 17, The Graven Gate, and number 18, Garote's Madness. I know those are all puns. I got no idea what that last one is. They also have a print and play poster book with art from the series, if you just like the art, because they do have good art. First One's Entertainment has 2 adventure bundles out featuring adventures they offered at Gen Con 2023 and Gen Con 2024, respectively. The Circus of Shadows is a 5th edition resource with characters, magic items, and lore revolving around a circus and its cunning leader. Citadel of the Unseen Sun, Episode 3, A Mask of Life, is another entry into the entirely overlong titled Citadel of the Unseen Sun series of adventures for 5th edition, and I'm giving the truncated version. I think it's got something else in the front of it. It's long. Anyway, they all revolve around recovering an artifact from a long-lost civilization. There will eventually be 6 episodes. Relics and Realms, Issue 5, Isles of Tenebris, another long title, is another 5th edition adventure dealing with a remote archipelago with a rich history and includes information on its history, its NPCs, with some new magic items and new creatures. Astral Adventure, a 5th edition adventure for the Philbar campaign setting suited for 6th level characters. It was initially offered at Gen Con 2021. Relentless Fiction has a couple of 5th edition offerings. There's Heirs to the Wild, which covers a playable race with deep ties to nature and the spirit world, as well as 2 classes, some new backgrounds, feats, spells, lore, and so forth. There's also Alameg, a religion guide for 5th edition that details the Church of Alameg. Ars Mechanica has The Molten Prophecy, a 5th edition adventure that wraps up the Ars Mechanica saga and is suited for levels 18 to 20. The Traveler's Guide to the Drowned City of Caris is a 5th edition supplement from Chamomile that features a city sunk in beneath the waves long ago and now inhabited by Triton people and ruled over by a tyrannical Sawagan Empire. Runesmith is a 5th edition class that deals with inscribing runes of power onto various items. It includes 2 subclasses and various runic families to customize the powers that you get. The Beguiler is a 5th edition class, a full caster class that casts spells secretly in full view of everyone. RPG Gamer has a set of classes compatible with the 5th edition, but suited for the 1940s noir detective style setting. It includes Private Investigator, the Street Enforcer, and the Con Artist. They also have an equipment book that I didn't get a chance to link, but I'm sure you can find it. Level Up Advanced 5th Edition is a new starter box available. It includes a new rulebook, 3-part adventure, some pre-generated characters, and some tokens and some maps to allow you to adapt to the system. Kobold Press has Wizard's Playbook, compatible with the Tales from the Valiant and similar systems, which basically 5th edition derived systems. It takes classic Wizard spells and gives them a new remix. DC 20 has some beta rules available, expanding on modern tabletop RPGs. The rules include action point-based combat, customized character creation, and so forth. There's also a monster starter pack to get started with it, so you can try it out. Scrim is a DCC RPG compatible set of wilderness sites, encounters, and loot from Bob Worldbuilder. It includes various tables to randomly generate wilderness settings as well, and it looks to be at least partially inspired by Skyrim. The Sorcerer's Fate is another DCC RPG compatible offering. This one a level 0 funnel, where screams have poured in from the hills after a flash of light, and now livestock rot in the pastures, crops are covered in mold, and the towns must find what's going on. Ruins of Ardust is a Shadow Dark RPG compatible adventure collection, dealing with a hex crawl through some ruins with random encounter tables, various eldritch patrons, and 10 associated adventures within the same area. Ruins of the Deepwood King is a generally OSR compatible adventure, basically a 1-level dungeon crawl suited for 4th level characters. The Roadmaster class is a Shadow Dark class, a wisdom-based class inspired by a medieval Norse Egil's Saga. Don't know how to pronounce that. My apologies. I know some people are going to chew me out in the patron thing after that. Anyway, they can buff allies and cursed enemies. Completely Unfathomable is an adventure for swords and wizardry and similar systems that combines the previously released Operation in Unfathomable with its new companion volume, ODS, Uplands, as well as material from the OU Player's Guide all in one tome. Trouble at Bigby's Meadery is a system-neutral fantasy adventure for low-level characters that involves a mead maker whose shipments have started to go missing. Moo Runamog, my bad, is a system-neutral and old-school style toolbox with hooks, locations, hazard encounters set on a primordial continent. A jungle area with decaying monuments from an ancient civilization. It is inspired by Lost Worlds and sword and sorcery style fiction. Graveyard Dirt is an OSR adventure module compatible with a Knave 2nd edition focused on skeletons. It includes an introductory investigation adventure, an undead merchant, 10 new skeletons and variants, 8 new spells, and various artifacts. Goblin Galactic is an OSR-style zine that features goblins in space. Space goblins! That's all you need to know. Trail to Zinrala is a solo and GM'd adventure for monsters, dubbed humans, because you play a character in the 1870s Utah who starts to encounter strange creatures from another world. The Dragon's Eyrie is a dungeon adventure for the Dragonbane system. It deals with an advanced dragon's horde that lies at the top of a temple of the sky. Mazes has a few offerings. There's Mazes Monthly Folio, Year 2, that offers various hazards, edges, and traps from the second year of Mazes monthly modules. There's also Mazes Fantasy Role-Playing Monthly Adventure Subscription Year 3 that will populate the new adventures on the second Tuesday of every month for 1 year of the Mazes system, of course. Enter the Labyrinth is an adventure for Labyrinth Adventures that deals with an evil threat looking to break down a kingdom. Cottages and Kerberos is a cottage core monster hunting system inspired by things like Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, as well as Monster Hunter. It includes a core rulebook with various monsters to slay and rules on what to do with them. There's also a bestiary available, which converts the monsters to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and then another one that converts them to 5th Edition if you prefer those rule sets. Hellfrost Journeys is a Savage Worlds RPG rule set for Hellfrost that details the rules for praying to relevant gods for travel, fatiguing travel rules, dealing with pack contents and costs, information on sailing vessels, navigation rules, aerial and underwater travel, surviving the underworld, and so on. Land of Yeld has Elves of Yeld, an expansion that provides everything you need to introduce Yeld's cat-like elves. Heroes of the Fifth Age is a grimdark fantasy RPG set in a world ruled by a millennium-long demonic war. It's a beta-style document that is still undergoing revision and will include art at a later date. Eyes Beyond the Torch is an RPG of fantastic adventure with classic character archetypes, various classic ancestries, monsters, and treasure. Ratcatcher, The Sewers of Maristal, is a dark fantasy RPG dealing with life in the sewers below a corrupt city. It is in a zine format. Wardens is a lo-fi fantasy hack of the 24XX system dealing with a group of defenders empowered by spirit guides to face darkness and corruption. Katanas and Kimonos treasures 8 amazing artifacts. It offers 8 artifacts to use with Katanas and Kimonos systems. Blackout for Candela Obscura is a one-shot that will be the first entry in a new series that has a secret narrative thread tying them all together. Weird Wonders and Revolutionary Magic from Mage 20th Anniversary offers a number of new magic items, spells, rotes, and so forth suited for Victorian Mage Chronicles. Alma Maters for Hunter the Reckoning 5th edition is a collection of academic-themed locations with supernatural influences for fully detailed academic institutions, a couple new antagonist groups, new player options, new rules options, etc. Go Go Golf is a rules-light tabletop RPG about a magical world that's crazy about golf. Fathoms Below is a scenario for Cthulhu Eternal set in the Cold War where a team of amateur underwater explorers uncover something far below the sea while the tension of the Cold War escalate. Modifius has a few offerings for various systems. There's Actun Cthulhu 2D20, Shadow of the Crawling Chaos, a scenario for Actun Cthulhu. There's Fallout 2D20 NPC pack Hollywood Heroes that offer 16 stat blocks for various NPCs based on the Amazon Fallout series, in case you want to play those. There is 5 Parsecs from Home Tactics, which offers larger battles, wider conflicts, new stories, solo play, etc. for 5 Parsecs from Home. And then we move on to Meet the New Boss, a mothership scenario that deals with the aftermath of the resolution of the Cola Wars, which apparently went hot at some point. With that, let's take a look at crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so with no guarantee of receiving a product mentioned here is not an endorsement, but is for informational purposes only. And only one computer and console campaign caught my eye this week. Veiled Shadows will be a 3D JRPG inspired by the Persona video game series, set in a mysterious Japanese village where the boundary between reality and the mystical is blurred. Onwards towards tabletop crowdfunding, Scourge of the Tyrant King will be a 5th edition compatible adventure and micro setting with a dark fantasy theme will revolve around a cursed kingdom. Rats of Ulgol, 5th edition version, will be a collection of adventures dealing with the long-tailed devotees of Ulgol. I believe this collection has been available for other OSR systems in the past. Killer of Giants, or Monsters of Rock, Volume 5, will be a collection of 5th edition material revolving around giants who are on a rampage inspired by rock. Savage Adventures for 5th edition, Volume 1, Cults of the Null Lord, looks to be an anthology and campaign setting for 5th edition with monsters and PCs and magic items and more. The Blue Divide is a modular D&D 5th edition setting meant to fit easily within others, within a 3-act adventure for varying levels, dealing with a freshwater lake at the heart of a region teeming with history, magic, and adventure. Monster Trainer's Handbook will be a 5th edition campaign supplement in a setting where you can collect and train various rare creatures for epic adventures. It looks to legitimately have various holographic cards of some of the creatures included as well, in case you're wondering as to what the inspiration might possibly be. Anyway, Tales of Eridan, Ascent of the Nimapeel, will be a 5th edition adventure dealing with a town being tormented by an ancient spell plague, with the only cure being a creature born from a crystal cocoon which must be brought to the surface. Chains of Fiend will be a 5th edition sequel to Wings of Dread, where a cult of the Black Worm has weakened the barriers between planes, seeking to bring a demon lord to the material world. Fiendish Forge will be a collection of 5th edition material, including bosses and monstrous items and magical items, with the ability to gather materials and forge items to face off against other bosses. Yet another Monster Hunter-inspired offering, apparently. Taverns and Stores for 5th edition will be a collection of 10 taverns and 10 stores, just like it says on the tin. Shadow Dark Folio, Volume 1, will be a collection of 13 monsters to use with the Shadow Dark rule set from Jeremy Hart. Populated Hexes Monthly, issue 38, will be yet another entry into the OSR zine, this one dealing with a wilderness hex between 2 cities. Half Jinx will be a tabletop family-friendly RPG about pranks played by adolescent halflings. It is inspired by the Moss Rider rule set. Cal Arath will be a sword and sorcery role-playing game of high adventure set in a savage land where ancient demons demand sacrifice and mortals strive against one another with blood, magic, and steel. Classic sword and sorcery material. It looks like it's presented in a classic manner. Kedamono Opera will be a dark fairy tale tabletop RPG where you assume the role of an immortal soul-eating beast meant to either hunt or help humans. The End of Kings will be an alternate history 17th century-based RPG set in the British Islands, just at the end of the Tudor era and the ascension of the Stuarts. Finally, there's Gates of Crystalia, an isekai-style RPG that draws inspiration from modern anime and light novels. With that, I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler, my RPG News Roundup for August 24th, 2024. Keep an eye out for some reviews I got coming up. I got 3 of them finally completed. They'll be coming out over the next few weeks, and I'll be getting on some more. Hopefully, it will start to bring more to this channel than just the RPG News Roundup. I'll also be looking into covering a few other RPGs going forward that are like computer RPGs. As always, if you want
As always, links will be below. If you like what you're seeing, remember to leave a like, comment on feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. If you want to catch my Let's Plays, they are on the secondary channel, RPG Crawler Plays. Still, I'm just wrapping up Baldur's Gate 3 and Gateway to the Savage Frontier. We'll start another one pretty soon. And for my supporters, I will be starting a new Mega Dungeon 5th Edition, probably base campaign. It might be OSR, maybe, but I will be creating a Mega Dungeon for that campaign. If you are interested in, I know I've got a lot of my patrons, supporters that are not involved with the D&D campaign. I will be starting a new one, so if you find you have time during our schedule, feel free to drop me a line. Anyway, until next time, take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.